Well, just one day after it was announced, the verdict in the Whitey Bulger trial continues to make waves this morning. Bulger convicted of being involved in 11 murders and other crimes, but the legal chapter of the former mob bosses is far from over. Justin Michaels, live from South Boston to explain. We got a little bit of waiting time before we find the ultimate fate for Mr. Bulger.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Eric. A couple different things are going to be in play here. Of course, we do know the defense is going to appeal this conviction, citing they weren't able to argue their immunity defense. But then we also know coming up in November 13th to be specific, that is when the sentencing will be for James Whitey Bulger.
Mr. Bulger knew as soon as he was arrested that he was going to die behind the walls of a prison.
We'll find more out about that come November when James Whitey Bulger is sentenced. But yesterday afternoon, hours after the verdict was handed down, you have to believe Whitey had some things on his mind as he left the federal courthouse under intense security. But you probably didn't think this.
Jim Bulger was very pleased at how the trial went, and even pleased by the outcome.
Pleased because he was only found guilty of murdering 11 people, not 19, and 31 out of the 32 counts in his racketeering indictment. Some say that's a victory for the defense, while the prosecution says it's a victory for the victims' families.
Today is a day that many in this city thought would never come. James J. Whitey Bulger now stands convicted for his role as the ringleader of the murderous Winter Hill Gang.
Among the guilty verdicts, the murder of Michael Donahue in May 1982, and Bulger's involvement in the 1974 killing of Tommy King after he was allegedly involved in a fight with Bulger. However, the jury didn't feel there was enough evidence to hold Bulger responsible for 8 other murders, including Francis Buddy Leonard, who was shot to death in November 1975 in Tommy King's car, and North End bartender Michael Milano, killed in 1973 after a case of mistaken identity. And then there was the non-decision on the murder of Deborah Davis, the late girlfriend of Stephen the Rifleman Flemmi, who disappeared in September 1981. And a little bit of an insight into how James Whitey Bulger might personally feel about all this came as he was leaving the courtroom yesterday. Eric, he had a smirk on his face and he gave a thumbs up to some of his family members. Back into you.
That's Justin Michaels live for us outside the Moakley Federal Courthouse.